Hi guys, are you ready to learn how to make these super cute slippers that are good for all ages, super soft and super easy? All you're gonna have to do is basic sewing skills. So I have a pattern and I will list in the description box where I got a pattern from, or you can make one yourself. Next, I took the big part, which is the U, and cut out 2 pieces of my pattern material, which is flannel. Then I did the same with some fleece. You can use felt if you don't have fleece, but we had fleece, so that's what we used. Now it's time to cut out the bottom of your slipper. You take it and you trace it on your soft material. This is like a thick foam. Do not cut it out. I will explain why in a little bit, but you will need to make your rectangles where your sole will actually fit on there as well. Again, you are not cutting this out, and just mimic those rectangles with your fleece, okay? And like I said, don't cut them out. I will explain why later, or you will have trouble sewing. So to put our slipper together, we take our U's and we match our good side of our fabric down on top of your piece of your fleece. Then all we do is pin that together, and make sure you pin it well. If you're new at sewing, it does slide a little bit, so make sure you pin it good. Then all we have to do with that is we're going to take it and we're going to sew in that U. And we called it the U spot, so that was our tricky little name. All you do is you put the fabric down in your machine, put your presser foot down, and you want it to line up right at the edge of your presser foot. You don't need a lot of seam allowance. And then all you do is straight stitch it. So simple, easy, take your time because you do have to turn it, okay? We have to cut little triangles in the U shape. So take your scissors and be very careful when you're doing this. Do not cut the stitch that you just put in, or you will end up with holes in your slippers. Once that is complete, we are now going to take our iron and we're going to flip our slipper properly so you can see the pattern material and iron the creases flat. This will help you later when you try to assemble your slipper, and you won't have issues with your material lining up. We open our U back up and we take pattern to pattern and fleece to fleece. So we're pretty much sealing off the back of our slipper. And then again, we are going to put a couple of pins in that, and then we're going to bring it back to our machine. Again, we don't need a lot of seam allowance, so we just put our material up to our presser foot. Make sure you back stitch and stitch away. Once you're done that, you have completed the top of your slipper and it looks super cute. I'm really excited about these guys. The turtle material was the last at the store, so it was pretty exciting for me. Then this is what your slipper will look like so far. So easy peasy, only 2 real sewing things at the moment. Now we're going to tackle the base of your slipper. This is the part. So I told you guys do not cut it out, and I will show you why. When we're ready to cut it out, you know how you traced it with a Sharpie? Now you're going to cut on the inside of your Sharpie. So you're not going to cut right on the black, you're going to cut on the inside. So you will no longer have any black on your sole of your slipper. Once that is complete, we now take our 2 rectangles that we had made, your fleece and your pattern print. We're going to sandwich the foam in between the 2. Make sure your pattern, the nice side, is up. So when you lift it up to look at it, you can see your pattern. For this, we just take a couple of pins and we pin this into place. This is why I said do not trim all of your material first, because this is where it gets a little tricky, okay? We're going to have to see where that is. So now we take a chalk pencil or something like that, and we follow the edge of that foam. And because I do have a green pattern, it's hard to see that on, so I just used the marker and I marked on the fleece and went all the way around. Get as close to it as you can. I did try to show you guys, but you couldn't see it on the camera. But there is a line that goes all the way around. Now we're going to bring it to our machine. For this, it's the same kind of thing. You want to follow your chalk line now. So do not worry about how much seam allowance you have. You're following your own chalk line to match the size of your sole of your slipper. Backstitch, and all it is a straight stitch. There's nothing fancy about it. Once that's done, pull your pins, and there you go. See, so that's going to be the sole of your slipper. To make it clean and pretty, we cut around the edge. Make sure you do leave a bit, because if you have a serger, you can serge it next. I do not have a serger, so I'm going to be using my sewing machine. I am turning it to a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to sew it right along where I had previously sewn a straight stitch. So run it through your machine, make sure you back stitch. Once that is complete, then you're able to trim off a little bit more of the sole, up pretty much up to where your zigzag stitch is, and now your sole is sealed. Look how pretty it is. Now we get to start assembling our super cute slipper. Make sure it's pattern side to pattern side. So I flipped it inside out, so my fleecy side is the one that I'm handling. I'm now folding the slipper in half to find my front center, and because there's a seam at the back, you already know where the back center is. I'm now taking the sole of my slipper and doing the same thing, making sure I find the center on both sides. This is going to help you pin it together and make it proper. You'll be able to look at your sole and see which is the top and which is the bottom. Make sure you put the toe part to the top and the seamed part to the bottom of the slipper. And now it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just going to pin this all around and secure it. Remember to make sure that all of your material matches up. Be a little bit picky, take your time, and pin it properly. This is where you will end up with holes if you're not paying attention. I luckily did not have holes when I sewed my first pair. And we're going to straight stitch all around the edge of that slipper. So again, we're going to lift our presser foot, we're going to put it down and keep it with a little seam allowance. So our fabric is going to follow the edge of our presser foot, and just stitch all the way around. Make sure you back stitch to seal off your edges and pull your pins. Yes, I am guilty of sewing over pins. So far I've been lucky, but it is a small project and I get stabbed. So I was pulling my pins as I was going. Now we're just trimming threads, flip it right side out, and let's see. Perfect! No holes, no nothing, and one of your slipper is complete. But we don't want people to slip, so we're going to use puff paint. And for this, I am just going to make any design I want on the bottom. You can do as you wish with your design. I figured because these are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what better than to put TMNT on the bottom. And now you guys, we're done.